waits, and Johnson scores!
Masaba's in the middle. Wednesday here could seal it. Gassama finds Masaba.
Now Bannon with a great ball in. Here's an opportunity. Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
Dijon Bernard, ole ole. Dijon Bernard, ole ole. Loves the reggae, plays for Wednesday. Dijon Bernard, ole ole. Hello and welcome to the Wednesday Tie-Dye podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me this week, as Matt gets absolutely rat-arsed in Amsterdam on a stag do, is Steve Lunn. Steve, first and foremost, mate, how are you, pal? You all right?
I'm very good, thank you. And can I just apologise to all the viewers because I'm not nearly as good looking as Matt.
Yeah, well, look, you're standing in for Matt. Thank you very much for doing so. Like I said, he's in Amsterdam at the moment. I'm sure he would have loved to have made a detour to Austria or Germany and what have you, but alas, he'll be back. He will be back next week. On the show, we're going to be talking about, as referenced with the song at the top, we're going to be talking about Dijon Bernard signing that new contract. Also going to be talking about the pre-season so far, the positivity that we're all feeling, as well as Ike Ugbo and Dejwan Chansiri as well, if we have the time. Before we get into all of that, something aside from football for a second, Steve. Olympics gets underway this week. Are you a fan of the Olympics?
Well, to be perfectly honest, James, I think the Olympics are a great antidote to insomnia. It does nothing for me at all, I'll be honest. I like the 100-metre sprint. That's me done.
Really? Do you know what? I am just a sport nut, really. I'd watch Tiddlywinks if it were on. Yeah, I could watch anything, to be fair. I mean, look, I'm not going to be one watching every single event, but when you're flicking the channels and what have you on an evening, I'll definitely put it on, see what's happening. If there's any sport that you could do, then Steve, I mean, I don't know if this question's relevant given the answer to the first one. Which sport would it be then, Steve?
Oh, well, I'd have to identify as a woman and be in the women's beach volleyball, I think. I think that'd be the best one to be in.
Well, I'll not ask you for the reasons for that, Steve, but yeah. My next question
Leave it to your imagination. Yeah.
My next question was going to be: are you good at it? Are you good at beach volleyball?
I did play. I went on holiday to Rhodes years ago, and I played every day, and I did get quite decent at it. To be fair, yeah. It's a good game to play.
I can remember we went to Mexico, and they were mad for it over there. All the Americans on their spring break and everything. And yeah, I mean, I'm ultra competitive as well. Thing is, my height is my disadvantage. Being less than 6 foot tall. Yeah, not great. The height is definitely an advantage when it comes to volleyball. I mean, for me, I used to do a bit of cycling, quite a bit of cycling to be fair. So that's probably one that I'd be best at if I had to pick one. Another one, it's got to be archery. Centre Parks, whenever you go to Centre Parks, you always have to do a bit of archery, like a little Robin Hood over there. But so yeah, I'd have to pick that one. Anyway, let's get on to football then, Steve. That's what everyone wants to talk about. If you're listening or watching even on YouTube, do get in the comments and do let us know. I see Jordan's in there. Dijon Bernard, ole ole. Yeah, I'd already got it on the script, Jordan, to talk about that. So yeah, great that you'd pop that one in. Before we get on to all that sort of stuff, the positivity, Steve. Like, I've not seen positivity like this for a long time. I mean, we haven't even kicked a ball yet, in anger, of course. Still 3 weeks until the season gets underway, or just under 3 weeks now. A lot of people have mentioned 1991, 1993 as kind of equals to how positive they feel now. I can't vouch for those. I can't remember back then. Some have said 2015-16 season under Carlos, the first one. Whilst I kind of agree that was great and positive, definitely wasn't before the season like we are now. Obviously, in those kind of the positives just grew and got bigger. But we've got every right to feel as positive as we do at the moment, haven't we, Steve?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been casting my mind back to previous seasons, and 91 and 93 were halcyon days, and the sort of the basic team we had in those days was enough to make you optimistic. Let alone the new signings that were coming in. But I think the difference between this and any other transfer window that I can remember in my over 40 years as a fan is that there's definitely a plan and a method to everything that we've done. They seem to have, they must have identified the players weeks and weeks ago. They've gone out and they've got them, and it's just, I'm still pinching myself, to be honest. I mean, Jamal Lowe. Yeah, who would have thought we'd have been signing a player like that? We're being linked with paying money for players. I mean, it's
just on
incredible.
Jamal Lowe, Steve. I remember when we signed him a few weeks back, and I went back to when we were linked with him last season. And you go on the comments there, and everyone's like, "Nah, not a chance. We're not getting him. No. How do you think we're going to be able to afford to get him? He's at Bournemouth." And then, fast forward another 12 months, there he is putting that blue and white shirt on for Sheffield Wednesday. Which, it's and look, he's not marquee sign or anything like that. A few people have said lost a bit of his pace, but just for me, just that shift in momentum and the way that we're thinking now, and being able to kind of attract those players. But I mean, are you allowing yourself to get carried away? I know I've seen people on Twitter getting very, very carried away in what's going to happen next season. I mean, the kind of Wednesday fan in me is just thinking, I'm always got that thing in the back of my mind that something could actually go wrong, and maybe it's not going to be as positive as it is. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, look, it might not be this positive for quite some time, so let's just enjoy it.
Well, I think we've certainly got to ride the wave. I also think that we need some more additions. I don't think that the current squad is quite where it needs to be in certain positions. But crikey, I mean, compared to previous years, I mean, in 91 and 93, there was still this habit of bringing players in very late. And I just can't remember a time when we've had brought so many players in so early. And it's bound to reap dividends when the season starts, because most of them have been through Danny's fitness regime, which sounds quite tortuous, to be honest. 3-hour sessions and, this, that and the other. And they've also, been given the time to get used to the way that Danny wants to play, because I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to change the way he plays. I can't see us starting 3-4-3 with a mid-block like we were last season. I think it's going to be high tempo, high press, high up the pitch kind of stuff. So by getting everybody in so early, he's sort of able to imprint what he wants on the players over a sustained period of time, and that's going to pay dividends. And you'd like to think that we're going to really hit the ground running day one of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just reel off the signings that we've made so far. Olaf Kabaki, Jan Valery, Max Lowe, Jamal Lowe, Nathaniel Shalabar, Svante Ingolson, Ben Hamer, Charlie McNeil, and obviously James Beadle on loan. I mean, Steve, which one of those kind of excites you the most? Because, I mean, for me, I think that they're all, on paper, look great signings. They all look to fit kind of what Danny Röhl's looking for when you look at the data in terms of, they've either... Those that are a little bit older have got experience at this level. Max Lowe obviously did great in the Championship. Jamal Lowe, a lot of his goals and appearances again have come in the Championship there, 27 and 29 respectively. Again, Shalabar, again, lots of experience at this level. And those that are younger, like Charlie McNeil, 20 years old, unproven, but he is only 20, so it's going to be harsh to kind of find a 20-year-old that has that level of experience. But what he does have is, hopefully a great future ahead of him. And the key for me is he has that resale value as well, which is massive. So, but yeah, which one kind of excites you the most?
Well, I have to say, James Beadle really excites me the most, because the improvement that he showed and the personal development that he showed from this sort of very callow, spindly youth that appeared in January, where he sort of ran up to the Kop with his head down and was to the totally confident extrovert mainstay of the team, which he was at the end of the season. God knows how he's going to grow in the next season. I honestly think that this kid is going to play for England. I've never seen a young goalkeeper as good as this ever.
Yeah,
he's look at him physically, 6'6". He seems to be able to pick him out the top corner and tip him round. He's got absolutely everything, and the sky's the limit for the lad. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about his performance. Well, obviously, we only got the highlights to go off against Red Bull Salzburg. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I do agree. I think it just made perfect sense, that signing. Unfinished business. The fact that he'd done half a season from January. We were looking for a goalkeeper, and why not him? Fit into what we were trying to do, playing out from the back. Danny Röhl, I know he said to the media that is something that's going to happen this season as well. So he's very comfortable at doing it. That's what all the modern goalkeepers like to do now. So I had no, I didn't think there'd be any reason why Brighton wouldn't let James Beadle come. Obviously, goalkeeping coach Sal Bibbo used to be at Brighton as well, so they've got the links there. I'm sure it's easy for him to share that information with how he's doing. I'm sure Brighton will be saying as well, we want him to be doing X, Y, and Z, which is not going to be a problem. Played a friendly there behind closed doors the other day as well. So clearly those relationships behind the scenes are very strong. The fact that we're playing Red Bull Salzburg yesterday, what was it, 10 Austrian Bundesliga titles out of the last 11 years. Werder Bremen, an established Bundesliga side that we're going to be playing next week. Brighton, again, established in the Premier League, the top teams that we're playing. I mean, just kind of going back to the positivity and stuff, I just feel like at the moment, the things that are coming out of the club are making us sound like an actual proper football club. And I don't think, I can't remember the last time that I've been able to say that, Steve.
Yeah, and it's kind of showing a real ambition, isn't it? We don't want to go and play Alfred and Town in the next 4 games. Let's go and train at St George's Park. St James's Park, then St George's Park. Let's then go and have another camp in Germany and play Red Bull Salzburg, who were in the last 16 of the Champions League, and then chuck in Werder Bremen, who are not quite on that level, but not far off. It's just amazing, and it shows the sort of levels that Danny wants, and wants us to aspire to. And I don't care what the scores are in these games particularly. We're gonna lose them, aren't we? Playing against that calibre of player, but when they played against that calibre of player, when they actually come down to playing at their own level again, hopefully, that'll reap dividends.
Yeah, kind of segues into the next point, really. Let's talk about that friendly against Red Bull Salzburg. You've kind of just already alluded to it there, but we lost 3-0 to them. Lost 3-0 to Brighton, 4-0 to Red Bull Salzburg. Does it really concern you at all that we have been beaten by those? The reason why I mentioned that on the debate show on Wednesday, I forget the lad's name, but he came on and said that it's worrying him that we've been beaten by Brighton. We've got 2 decent sides coming up next. He wanted a bit of positivity, a bit of getting a few wins under the belt to take that into that new season. Where do you stand with all that?
Pre-season is always false, and pre-season results don't really matter. It's all about getting minutes in the legs, starting to sort fitness out, establishing an identity and a way of playing. They're the important things. The results are really secondary, and I don't. I know what it means, but I don't particularly buy it. I mean, if it was going to psychologically destroy the players, do you think Danny and Sasha Lenz would be putting them through it? I don't. I don't personally see that.
I think
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there is a bit of truth in it. I mean, look, what is all right? I know we only beat Alfreton 2-0, but say we beat him 8-0. What's it really going to achieve? Because you're not testing yourself. You're not going to gain anything from that game. Scoring the 8 goals, because everyone's going to go, well, it's only Alfreton. And actually, if it were that easy, what's the point? I suppose pre-season's there to actually make the mistakes. it's better to make the mistakes in the pre-season where it doesn't matter, so that you can go back into training and go, right, well, we need to work on that because that didn't really work, or we need to knock that on the head because that just looked awful, or we need it's about testing yourself really more than anything else. I think those games against the Alfredtons and stuff, I think it's just a bit of it's a money making scheme, innit? It keeps them afloat a little bit. Playing a decent side. Again, Alfredton, we turned up, probably their biggest gate that they have all season, really, when we come into town, and earns them a few quid, which is always nice. But yeah, I think for me, the pre-season is kind of exactly what you said. Really, it's to get a bit of a run out, test some things that you've been trying. And I suppose playing these top sides that we're playing, it's a chance to see where we are as a level. And if we can create some chances, all right, we haven't scored any goals, which is a little bit disappointing. Which, but then again, I do think we desperately need a striker, which is for another discussion. But the fact that we've actually gone toe to toe, and you think, well, actually, yeah, we have created chances. I don't think we. Say, for argument's sake, the Brighton game, if we'd have drawn Brighton in third round of the FA Cup, I don't think we would have played the way that we probably set up for that game. We probably went tried to go toe to toe with them just to see where we're at. We're not just going to play a low block and go for a 1-0 win. That again, you don't really learn anything from that. And again, I don't think, to the point that the guy made on the debate show, I think last season. Because I'd be a bit of a hypocrite if I said pre-season doesn't matter. Because last season I was saying I'm a bit worried here because pre-season has gone terribly bad. But I think there was a difference there because obviously it was a new manager. We didn't really know what he was trying to do or anything like that. And ultimately, after those pre-season games, I still didn't have a clue what he was trying. The difference now is we know exactly what Danny Rail's all about, and we know what he's done last season and the heroics that we pulled off. So, yeah. You know what he's going to be trying, and it don't really faze me at all. Really, I mean, we've got Werder Bremen, Bundesliga side, and then it's I don't know how to pronounce it. Leganes, no idea, but they're in La Liga as well. So again, another top flight side. I mean, some people on social media have been going a bit spare, haven't they? The fact that we've lost another game, but we shouldn't really care about it, should we? Really, to be fair.
No, not at all. I mean, it's Red Bull Salzburg, it's Brighton and Hove Albion. I mean, I can remember I went to the Chesterfield game, pre-season friendly, and that first half in particular was just dire. They didn't know what they were doing. There was no shape, there was no method, there was no identity, there was just no nothing. And that game really proved to me that we got problems because we were playing Chesterfield, who were in the National League at the time. Whereas we're playing Brighton and Red Bull. So I mean, the difference is like night and day, isn't it?
Yeah, by all accounts, Brighton put out a very, very strong side. I don't know much about RB Salzburg, but by all accounts, they put out a strong team as well. I think the guy that scored the first goal, again, you take these prices with a pinch of salt, but when you look on Flash Scores, market value €20 million for the lad that scored the first goal. And then I thought, let's have a look at Wednesday's side, like what they've got them as. And I was hard pressed to find anyone that were valued over $1 million, which just goes to show, doesn't it, the differences and what we're talking about. It's always, people are always quick just to see the scoreline, and actually, I mean, Ben's just said on YouTube, Salzburg played the way Danny wants us to play. Our players should now know how Danny wants to make the opposition feel week in, week out. Smart opponent selection. Yeah, look, if you're going up against better opposition that you're going to face in the first game of the season, hopefully we'll turn up at Hillsborough playing Wayne Rooney's Plymouth, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll feel the doddle. Look, don't clip that up, please. Don't. After the first week of the season, I could look very, very silly, but obviously that's the intention. Obviously, the club have put out the Inside Match Day video, which there were a few highlights of the game at the end. One thing that stood out for me, and probably everyone else really, James Beadle. I know we've already mentioned him, but some of the saves he was pulling off were absolutely remarkable, weren't they? And as much as we keep saying he's great with his feet, his shot stopping ability is second to none as well.
Oh, he's brilliant. I mean, I can still sit down, and think about his performance against West Brom, in the last home game of the season, where, it was a one-man clean sheet, wasn't it? In the last 10 or 15 minutes when West Brom just went all out, to try and get in the game. Some of the saves he was pulling off were just off the scale. I tell you, this kid, he's going to the top. I've never seen a keeper of that age that good.
It's just
in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's his reflexes for me, Steve. Just like, again, just referring back to the game at the weekend and some of the shots from fairly close range. I mean, there was one he was unlucky with that he just kind of palmed it straight back out, and they followed up, and it was a fairly simple finish in the end. But others, tipping around the post, those that he's got no right to even get to as well. You're thinking, how has he even done that? And yeah, I mean, to be fair, we have been blessed, haven't we, at Wednesday with some great goalkeepers over the time. I mean, unfortunately, some have been like Beadle on loan. But you've got to, when you're in the position that we're in, you've got to take advantage of things like that. And the thing for me, just kind of going off Beadle a second, if we are bringing these loan players in and developing them and bringing them on, that just stands us in good stead as a club. I can remember a couple of seasons ago, Alex Myton and Theo Corbeanu. I know Myton went, is it Myton that went back because and we weren't playing him, we were playing him totally out of position, playing him as a wing back when he wanted to come as a winger. That obviously, that doesn't help your reputation whatsoever, but I feel like now we're going in that right direction to build it. And we can see those strong connections with other clubs working. Man United is another one. It's no surprise that Deschamps Bernard's come in, and then McNeil as well. I know McNeil trained at Middlewood Road a few times. So again, there's a clear link between those two clubs, which obviously helped him come in. Which, yeah, it's like things are just going in the right direction. Just on the goalkeeper as well, by the way, the second half, George Shelvey was in goal, for those that were wondering. Charles is on international duty, and I think Heyman has picked up an injury. Shelvey, only 24, came through the Forest setup. He left Dundalk in the Irish Premier League after being banned for 10 games. Those that are wondering what he was banned for, I'll not ask you because I know you know, Steve. He called the referee an Irish, let's just use the words wanker, but it wasn't that, and it started with a C, so you can probably hazard a guess at what he actually called him. And yeah, got banned for 10 games on that one, which I've said Danny Rild likes a challenge with certain players. Look, I don't know whether he's just purely making the numbers up because Charles is out on international duty. We haven't really got any other goalkeepers or not, but yeah, I don't think anything's going to come of that one, but you never know, Steve.
Well, he did make a couple of decent looking saves in the highlights. He didn't look a nightmare. So is it another little diamond that we've managed to uncover? Time will tell.
Yeah, you never know. Just on let's move on to Deschamps Bernard then. Why not? The saga is finally over, Steve. It felt like it's gone on for far too long. Of course, the famous words last week for those that listened to last week's pod, when Matt asked me, what's your thoughts? Is he staying? Is he going? I'm like, he's definitely going because he doesn't rumble on this long. But then, to be fair, I did backtrack a little bit and said we haven't heard anything. And normally, when a player is signing for another club, or the agent, is trying to drum up a bit of interest, you see these, Football Insider 21794 on X just tweeting out various things, but we've had absolute nothing, radio silence when it comes to him. So there was that little glimmer of hope. Let's just kind of rewind a touch. He put that, to be fair, I think we literally finished recording on the Sunday night, and then he put the Instagram post on with his suitcases at the door. Obviously, we know what all that meant now. What did you think at the time, Steve?
I didn't know what to think. I'd always been quite optimistic that he was going to re-sign, and I just thought the delay was the Copa America. But when I saw those suitcases, I did begin to wonder, like, is he going abroad somewhere? Is that the significance of all those cases? I must admit, I did start to doubt myself then.
To be fair,
because I always felt, like you've just said, there'd been total radio silence in terms of him being linked with other clubs. I think in all summer, I saw one possible link with Derby County.
Yeah.
And with the greatest of respect to all at Pride Park, I don't think he'd leave us to go there. In the current, state of things. So I was quite optimistic. But God, when I saw that on Monday morning, I was looking on my Twitter when I got to work. And I thought, oh no, this is going to be a massive problem if he doesn't sign.
Yeah, well, I saw it.
It turned out all right.
Yeah, I saw it as we'd finished. Literally, we were talking about Deschamps Bernard, obviously. I saw that and I thought, a bit like you. I didn't. At first, I feared the worst. At first, I thought that's it. He's going. But then the more you thought about it, actually, would he have? I saw a few people saying, would he have actually done that before anything comes out from the club? It didn't strike me as that sort of person to do something like that, unless things have gone horribly wrong behind the scenes and he's feeling a bit salty or whatever. I saw a few people saying, "Oh, he's just off to Germany. He's just packing his bags for Germany." I thought, what's he taking? Why is he taking six suitcases to Germany for a week? I mean, I know, we've just been to Scarborough, and the amount of stuff we've packed. We only went for a day, by the way. We could have probably stayed for 4 weeks with the amount of stuff that we took. So maybe the guy's got a point, but we know that we're quite a few cases. I mean, I did, to be fair, after again compose myself a touch, I did say maybe maybe he's just not living. We don't know where he lived. Well, I don't know where he lived anyway. He was only on a 1-year deal. I was like, maybe he's signed a multi-year deal and he's just moving from wherever he was. Obviously, he was at Manchester before. Maybe he's still living in Manchester. He's not moved over because he might not be here after a year, and he's just signed that multi-year deal and he's thought, actually, yeah, I'm going to move to Sheffield. Again, I don't know where he lived before. People are probably listening to this screaming, saying, "Oh, he lives on Wind Gardens or something like that." But yeah, I was trying to just kind of a bit of clinging on to a bit of hope. But yeah, finally got that deal sorted and done. I said at the end of last season, the two best bits of business that we could do, one is retaining the services of Danny Röhl, and two would be keeping Deschamps Bernard on another contract as well. Would you agree with that, Steve?
Oh, absolutely, totally. I mean, you just look at the facts. He was one of the best players. Consistently one of the best players in the team last season. He's 23, really good age. He can still get better. He can still improve.
Great age.
Just to make it even better, he's on a 3-year contract.
Yes.
Which is just, what's happening down at Hillsborough? Giving a 3-year contract to 23-year-old Deschamps Bernard makes absolute sense. Compared to giving a 29-year-old Stephen Fletcher a 4-year contract on 42 grand a week was utter and total madness, and was one of the reasons why we failed FFP. I think he's got room to get better. If he gets better than he played last season, he's going to generate interest from higher up, and if he does, we're going to get some big money for him. And that's what we need to do. I was thinking about the resale thing, and you look at the squad now. Kabaki looks like he's going to be a bowler at this stage. Musaba, Gassama, Bailey Kadamatri, Charlie McNeil, they're all young players that if they come in and continue to develop and get better, they're all going to have really good resale values on them. And that's what we've got to do at our stage as a club. Bring these players in, develop them, and get some money in.
Yeah, we've got 8 players currently under the age of 25, under the age of 24 to be fair. Deschamps Bernard, Anthony Musaba, Olaf Kabaki, as you mentioned, Jedi Gassama. All right, James Beadle, he's not ours, he's on loan, so you can probably knock that one off. Charlie McNeil again, Kadamatri and Pierce Charles, which obviously we're forgetting when you look, these 3 players at the age of 25, Jan Valery, Akin Famewo, and another one that probably could be going, Malik Wilkes. We'll not mention him. How is he 25, by the way? Honestly, if you said,
I know,
if
I
you
thought
said
he'd be
to me,
about 35 looking at him.
that's what I mean. If you
He
said
must
to
have had
me,
our paper round, that's all I can say.
he must have had the same paper round as me, to be honest. Yeah, if you'd have said to me when 29, 30 years old, I would have said, yeah, probably is, to be honest. But 25, I think he's been around forever. Ingleson and Bambo Diaby, they're only 26. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, those that are a little bit older have got lots of experience at championship level. And yeah, I agree, that resale value, massive thing. We'll come on to that when we're talking about Dejphon Chansiri in a little bit, about the whole selling players and things like that. But yeah, I just think Deschamps Bernard, really good bit of business. I quite like the fact how agents are now telling us how long the deals are. So the clubs stay very tight-lipped when it comes to lengths of deal. They don't say a peep about anything. And then their agents just come out on Instagram and Twitter and stuff and just tell the world exactly how long the deal is. I heard from some people that it was 2 years with a 1 year extension at the end. The agents come out and said it's 3. Either way, it is what it is. If the extension's on our part, then that's great. If we can just choose to extend it, which I don't see a reason why we wouldn't, to be honest. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic last season. I do agree with what Matt was saying as well. I think he was saying on the Discord how he's gone under the radar a little bit, or probably would go under the radar with other clubs, because on his numbers and his stats, he doesn't really stand out massively. But I think Deschamps Bernard is one of the players that on the eye test really excels. When you actually watch him, you can definitely see. Jordan said, by the way, he lived in Cheshire before, so that would make perfect sense if he's perhaps moving over to Sheffield again. I've no idea where he's gone. Did you watch the interview that he did with the club after he signed?
Yeah, I did. And what a bright, really bright lad, really articulate, and I was just looking at it from the other point of view. If he hadn't have signed, how much would it have cost us to get a replacement at that kind of level? Yeah. It would have been very difficult to replace, very difficult. So I'm just so glad he signed. Because the other thing, of course, that Danny did, he tried him at playing at 6, didn't he, against Southampton, and it didn't go well. But Danny did say that he would continue to, although it didn't go well at Southampton, he felt it's something that Deschamps could do, and he'd continue to work on it with him. So,
I can see that on paper.
You never know.
On paper, it does certainly look like it works. He's a ball carrier, picks the ball up and he can run with it. Obviously, being a centre-back, you can tackle as well, which is great. You're probably right. I think the game he chose to do that in, Southampton, I think even Will Vaulks would have probably struggled playing in the number 6 against Southampton. I think anyone in our side would have struggled. So it's probably, as much as I've said, never again. We have to trust in Danny Reel, don't we? Really, at the end of the day, and it certainly wouldn't surprise me. Although saying that, I don't think we've really got any other, better centre backs than him either. So moving him out of position, into a different position that he can potentially play is great. We have to have other replacements for him at the back, because if not, you're just going to make yourself weaker in that department. Just on that, do you think we need another centre back to partner him, or are you happy with, we've got Dom Iorfa, Akin Famewo, potentially, Bambo Diaby, Michael Ehekwe? Do you think we need another? Because, if we do bring another one in, we are absolutely stacked when it comes to centre-backs, but not as, I suppose, not great centre-backs, if you know what I mean.
You just take the words out of my mouth. I would, if I was Danny, and obviously the real Danny's got a lot more hair than me, I would be looking at moving the likes of Famewo and Ehekwe out, because if we're going to play this sort of high tempo, high pressing, playing out from the back game, as good servants to the club as they've been, I think they're going to struggle playing that kind of style. Mm. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a bit of movement out in the centre half department. But my one concern is that we've got some big lads in the team, but we're still a bit vulnerable and a bit weak in the air at the back from set pieces and stuff like that. Towards the end of last season. I mean, in that West Brom game, for example, they were winning just about every first contact at corners when they were attacking us.
Yeah.
And I would like us to sign a proper 6'4" monster.
Yeah.
To play with either Sean Bernard or Iorfa or whoever.
Yeah. I mean, I think initially, if we started with Sean Bernard and Dom Iorfa, I'm not too disappointed. I think Dom's done great. He certainly got better as time's gone on. I think he has had some really bad times, let's say, in his Wednesday career. And I suppose that's a testament to him, really, that he's come through those. Makes you or breaks you, doesn't it, really, if you've had a tough time. I know I've alluded to it previously, but the Portsmouth game was one that that was particularly bad. But yeah, the fact that he's come back from that and actually showed the levels of performances that he's been doing, yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed. Lee said it feels we need a left-footed ball-playing centre-back, especially if we're going to persist with playing out from the back. I agree. I mean, left-footed centre-backs are like gold dust. A left-footed ball-playing centre-back, Christ almighty, I think they're like rocking horse shit, them, aren't they, really, to try and find
Well, there's that Calafiori that's just gone to Arsenal for like 35 million. He'd do, wouldn't he?
Do you know what? My lad is only 3.5. He goes to Little Kickers on a Saturday morning. I've been getting him to use his left foot. He's right-footed, but I'm like, use your left foot, because I'm just thinking, if you can be both-footed or even left-footed or comfortable with your left foot when you as a footballer, you'll get in any side. They're all crying out for left-footers, and like I said, the great left-footers are very very hard to come by, definitely. But yeah, I'd be happy if it was Dom Iorfa, but I do agree we do probably need someone else. The problem with trying to move players on, of course, is, well, they're already under contract, so it's not like we can release them. I'm sure potentially Danny might have looked to do that, but he's stuck with them for now. You've got to find buyers as well, haven't you? Or people that want those players in their side. I mean, Michael Heck, where is Michael Hecker's level? It's a tricky one with Hecker, because I think, as much as I agree with it, he's not really a ball player. I think you still do need that type of defender. I mean, I go back to the Preston game that he played?
Yeah, outstanding.
When we went down to 10 men, when Byers got sent off, and it was just an absolute bombardment. He won. You mentioned about West Brom winning every header. He won every single header in that game, and you could argue won us that game just with that defending performance. And I feel like, as much as he won't play a great deal, you still kind of need someone, especially when you can make you can make 5 subs, but you can have a bench and 9 subs, submitted. I don't know, I just feel like, a bit like Patterson, you need someone in that in the team, just in case shit's really hitting the fan.
Yeah, he'll do that. He's very experienced and he's very calm, isn't he? He never gets rattled by anything. He's always on a level, and when you've got a player like that, it can calm down the rest of the back four, can't it? If they're having a bit of a nightmare. So I have to concede on that one that we might want to keep him. But I just look at Firmino. I did read somewhere a few weeks ago that Middlesbrough were interested in him.
Can have him,
but I can't quite see that one. But I think he's been a tremendous player for us, and defensively he's okay. Pace wise, he can get exposed. Like Sammy Smodics went past him like he weren't there.
The thing is with Firmino, though,
he's ball playing.
Yeah, played out of position far too much for my liking. He's not a wing back. He ain't a left wing back. I think he's more, very much like we spoke about Palmer a couple of weeks ago, saying that his best position's right of a back three, the kind of right centre half. I feel like Ike Firmino is a good left centre half, because he is obviously naturally left footed. Am I going to stick him in in a centre back pairing in a back four. I'm not too sure. That's the thing. I think back five, he'll probably work. But if we're not really going to be playing that sort of position, I do fear for both Palmer and Akinfenwa as to how many minutes they're actually going to get, and whether there's going to be subs or 70, 80 minutes sub just coming on to kind of see the final 10 minutes out. I hope we are seeing games out as well this season. Seeing out a 2-0 win or whatever it is. But yeah. Let's change tack and talk about the other end of the pitch. Ike Ugbo. Just like the Bernard one, this one seems like it's been rumbling on ever since the season ended. There does seem like there is some legs in it as well. He's been left out of the Troyes pre-season training camp. According to their official Twitter, they put a list out and his name wasn't on it, which looks great for us. Looks like something could potentially happen. Certainly looks like he's on his way out. Looks like we had an offer rejected. You've seen reports that it's £4 million, €4 million. We'll take that with a pinch of salt because obviously we can't really confirm that, especially when we got told that Jan Valery were 2 million and it turns out it was a bag of crisps and a bag of balls or whatever it was, 400 grand, which was a lot different to the 2 million that we first heard. But that aside, I think you asked this on the debate show as well. But Steve, how much would you be how much is Ugbo worth basically, and how much would you be comfortable at spending on him?
Well, it's Sheffield Wednesday we're talking about, frees and loans. So I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that we look like we're going to be bidding multi-millions. I mean, it's...
Steve, I've still got PTSD. I've got PTSD from Jordan Rhodes. Do you know what? Like seeing, he was the last person that we really spent any real sort of money on. Record transfer signing and all that. That obviously didn't work whatsoever. That was an awful signing, and we don't need to get into that. And the thing is, for me, whilst on the outset, I think 2-3 million is more than enough. But again, like I said, I'm just worried that you'd be spending too much for someone. Whilst again, I think he did great when he first came. He had that purple patch, scoring 6 goals in 5 games. I look and go, well, he scored 1 in the final 11. Are you wanting to spend 4, 5, 6 million? I mean, Jordan's put 6 million is what he would spend. One, where are we getting that sort of money from? Since we've not sold any players to actually facilitate that sort of deal. That's my first worry. But then, I think 6 million. That's a lot of money for a player. And I feel like we're putting all those eggs in one basket. Having said that, if he turns out and scores 20 goals, how much is a 20 goal a season championship striker? I mean, you look at Morgan Whittaker, and he's been rumoured to be going elsewhere. He scored 20 odd goals. I'm sure he's probably, this is more than £10 million that he's going to be going for. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because everyone wants a goal scorer, and they're not cheap.
Yeah, I think the problem we've got with this as well is that his club are definitely holding an auction, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they will just want to flog him off to the highest bidder. And we've got Moneybags Birmingham City on the case. So that concerns me a little bit. I don't think there's any doubt that Ugbo probably wants to come to us, and that would be his wish. But if we go in and bid 2.5, 3 million, then Birmingham just go in and bid 4 or 5.
Yeah,
it ain't going to happen. So, listen, funnily enough, I was watching a montage of all our goals from last season, and watching it again, he does get in really good positions in the box. He gets in good areas all the time, and he times his runs really well. So if we can get the supply to him right, I think he can score 15 to 20 goals.
Yeah. I'm just looking here.
But I do fear for this deal. I don't think we're going to have enough money to buy him, and I just hope there's a backup plan.
Well, I'm just looking here. Plymouth rejected a bid of 8.5 million back in January from Lazio. for Morgan Whittaker. Now, Morgan Whittaker, how many goals did he finish on last season? He got 19. He got 19 in the league. I want to say, 19 goals in 40 appearances. So obviously, I'm guessing he got more than 20 when it comes to cup games and things like that. So 20 goal a season striker. It's probably going to want at least. They're going to want at least £10 million for him. Now, he is only 23 years old, whereas when you look at Ike Ugbo, is he 25? I want to say. He's 25, born in September, so he's going to be 26 just after the season starts. So a little bit older than Morgan Whittaker, but still, that if you're taking that into consideration, I mean, I know he didn't score 20 goals, but that's what you want your strikers to do, especially if he's going to be the focal point of the side. That he will be saying, I'm going to get you this many goals. This is why, or the Troy's going to be saying, if he continues his form that he had from last season, he probably will end up with 20. So it's going to be, it's going to be difficult. And I do agree with you. I think we're just not going to have enough clout when it comes to the money. And let's not forget as well, I think in the past week, they've just sold someone to Man City. Savinho is his name. 25 million euros. They're not, it's not like it's a fire sale and they need it to keep the club afloat. All right, I'm talking as if I know exactly what Troyes' financial, landscape looks like. But they're, you've just got 25 million for a player. Another one, Marma Balde, 6 million. They've roped in 31 million euros in 2 sales there. I suppose they can just hold out for the highest bidder. They're not just looking, we'll let him go. That being said, I'd like to think that Ike Ugbo's probably saying, I do want to go to Sheffield Wednesday. Please accept that offer. But I suppose the fact that he's not even in that training camp says that he's probably going to be going sooner rather than later. Hand on heart, do you not think that deal's going to happen? What would you say? What split is it? If you had to give it one in terms of whether he's going to sign or not.
Well, regrettably, I think it's probably 60-40 that he won't come because of the money.
Yeah.
And I just I'm sure we've got a backup plan anyway. Because you have to have plan A, B, C, D, and E, don't you, in the transfer market?
Yeah, definitely. I hope we have got another plan somewhere. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because we always see it every time we loan someone and they are available. I feel like as fans we just get his blinkers on, and we just think that there's no other players available to do that job. It's just like Ike Ugbo or no one. It's just that's the only player that we can focus on. That's the only player that we can sign. That's the only player that's going to score goals. And that, I know he's a safe bet. What's Charlie McNeil going to be like? He could be that 20 goal a season striker. We just don't know. I'd be more confident in Ike Ugbo scoring those goals, mainly because I've seen what he can do, and you can see what he can do with the likes of Barry Bannon and people like that. But there's other players out there. I think if he doesn't sign and he turns out for someone else, one, I hope it's not another Championship club, because that would be heartbreaking. If he's banging in the goals, you're thinking, that could have been us. But yeah, I mean, what would you? Let's say that Chansiri did offer. Let's go with Jordan's number there, 6 million. If we signed Ike Ugbo for 6 million, how would you feel? Would you feel like that's a great move? Would you feel a bit apprehensive? Because for me, like I mentioned earlier, I would just be a little bit worried, just with what's happened previously, with how much the season tickets are, the fact that we didn't pay a tax bill, and nothing other than this new Sky deal that's come in, which I know obviously is quite substantial, but then all these higher wages that I presume we're going to be paying this season. I just feel a little bit uncomfortable. I just can't see where the actual where we're balancing the books.
Yeah, I think if you were shelling out 5 or 6 million, then there'd be a Masaba or a Gassama going in the opposite direction, because we haven't got that kind of money, have we? It just doesn't add up. If you look at sort of the income that we're getting in, we can't afford that kind of money unless he has got another somebody, Chansiri's got another investor in with him that we don't know about. That's the only way I could see that would be possible.
Yeah, go on then. You just mentioned it. A couple of million plus a Masaba. Would you be happy that for an Ike Ugbo?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know. For me, I've no idea. It's a difficult one. On the face of it, I think, yeah. Would you get more out of Ike Ugbo than Masaba? I suppose the fact that we've signed seemingly every single winger that's on a free transfer means that we'd be able to cope without him. But I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's like, when I keep banging on about, being able to sell players, but then you get that problem again where if it did come that we are going to sell someone, because it's never happened for so long, I'd be absolutely devastated. I need to get in that kind of right frame of mind to realise that that's what we need to do as a football club just to be able to survive. Really, let's talk about Chansiri then. I feel like we haven't talked about him for quite some time, which is actually good, because normally when we're talking about him, it's for all of the wrong reasons, which we all know. Steve, since Danny Rill's come in, you can't help but say, despite whatever you think about him and what's gone in the past, since Rill's come in, what was it, October 2023, that things are certainly on the pitch are going in the right direction. Things are improving. The fact that obviously we were down and out, and he's brought us back from the dead, and we're playing Championship football next season. 9 incoming signings that we've already alluded to. 8 of them being permanent, which I think is massive. It's not just all loan signings. Danny Reel obviously mentioned the fact that he thought it was ludicrous that we were letting so many players go, or we were letting so many players run out the contract at the end of this season. So obviously we've seen that he's giving like multi-year contracts out, which has definitely come from Roll, by the way, given what he said. New deals for Bannon, Palmer, Windass, Iorfa, Bernard. Get that positivity that we've been speaking about at the top of the show as well. Steve, what's your view on the chairman before we go any further? And kind of has that changed over the recent weeks and months since Danny Reel has actually come in?
My view has changed a little bit. He got Danny Reel in the first place. I don't know where that decision came from, but my God, what a brilliant decision. He has kept quiet, and I think with him, that's the secret. Just keep him in the background, keep him from making pronouncements, any kind of pronouncement in public. He seems to have not spent all that much time at the club. He went weeks without being here, and things do seem to run better when he's not here. And he's done the right thing. He's got Danny on a new deal. Money's been spent on the training ground, and then all we've discussed with the signings. So there has been kind of a marked improvement on that side of things. But off the pitch, we've still got the issues around shirt prices, ticket prices, pay on the gate prices. We've still got the perennial problems with those. They're far too high. We don't need to go through that now. I think we've discussed it ad nauseum already. We all know that. And my biggest concern is the lack of commercial activity and therefore commercial income coming into the club. We haven't got a shirt sponsor. What's going on there?
Hey, Steve, before you carry on,
we haven't got a stand sponsored. We haven't got anything sponsored. I'll tell you a story, right? You know, when we were in League One, the first time we played away at Burton, the one thing that struck me about Burton was everything was sponsored. Everything was sponsored, and when we made our first substitution, the bloke came on the telly. He said, "Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday making their first substitution. I think it was Callum Patterson is replacing Michael Smith. Your substitution's brought to you by Doggy Daycare Burton." And all the Burton fans went, "Woof, woof, 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 woof." And it was quite funny. But I know it's all relative, and Burton are a small club, but they'd maximised the potential income from everything to the point where they were like sponsoring bloody corners, throw-ins, substitutions. But it's acknowledged throughout football that Burton is a very, very well-run club.
Yeah.
And they don't have very big crowds, but they survive. And I think actually I think the guy who owns it sold it, and they've got some bigger investors in, and they have spent some money this summer. But it's been a well-run club for a long time, and they maximise everything. We're just not doing anything on the commercial side at all. I mean, who's in charge of it? I mean, when Liam Dooley was here, stuff seems to be getting done. He did the A-up deal. On the home shirts, and I think all the boxes were more or less sold out, weren't they, when he was here as well?
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what's happened on the box side of things. Have the prices gone up again, and have some people taken the bat and ball on? I don't know about that at all. Well, it'd be interesting to know.
I've got two things to be fair. The first one, just on your point just then, in terms of, I don't know about for a box, but in terms of sponsorship for the actual games, someone got in touch. They were looking to sponsor, be the match day sponsor for one of the games. Our cheapest package match day sponsorship is $4,000. In comparison, Derby's is just shy of $2,000, so half the price. If you go for you want a Derby versus Wednesday, 2,750 quid at Pride Park, which is classed as a platinum game, and then the return leg at Hillsborough, $5,000 for match day sponsorship, and you pretty much get exactly the same as well. He said if not, it's like putting them at the side of each other, you probably get a little bit more at Pride Park than what you get at Hillsborough as well. So it just shows, are we asking for too much money? I don't know. The other point I wanted to make, when you said about not maximising commercial opportunities, did you see the tweet I put out about it's an Austrian Bundesliga side, TSV Hartberg. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
For those that are listening, go and have a look. Go on Twitter, TSV Hartberg, and just have a look at their shirt for the upcoming season, because it is an absolute perler. I mean, the design could be great, but you can't see it because it has got, I shit you not, it has got, I'm just going to count them actually whilst we're doing this. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's got 10 sponsors. Well, it's got 9 sponsors on the front of the shirt. It's got a huge sponsor on the left thigh. It's got one on the left arm, and whoever were in charge of doing the right arm sponsorship must have got sacked because there's nothing on the right arm. Maybe that's where the Bundesliga badge goes. But Christ Almighty, they have really, when you talk about maximising sponsorship opportunities, they must be raking it in. They have. It looks like when a boxer walks into a ring and they've got all the sponsors on. It looks like that. It looks like a Formula 1 car with all stickers all over it. It's horrendous. Imagine all them peeling off. The shirt would be ruined in a matter of minutes. But, I mean, one of them is an absolute perler. Profertil, number 1, sperm booster. Imagine having that on front of your shirt. I mean, come on. Anyway. But yeah.
What's German for it puts lead in your pencil?
I've no idea, but I'm sure someone will probably tell us at some point. But yeah, I mean, that's just the front of the shirt. I dread to think what the back of the shirt's going to be like. They must have got 15, 16 sponsors on the shirt, and yet we can't get one, which is a bit poor, isn't it? It's just, I mean, I know that, again, I've said it before, the shirt purists like those without sponsors on, think it looks better, and I do agree, like some shirts do look nice, but then also on the flip side, I think a sponsor sometimes makes a shirt. What would the 93 home shirt look like without Sanderson on it? Would it be as iconic without Sanderson plastered all over it? Nice segue into Total Saints podcast I've seen us watching. They Southampton fans, of course. Again, it always jars me when I see David Hurst in that red and white Southampton kit with the Sanderson. It's just like they've just swapped the colours around. It just looks exactly the same. Thanks for watching, guys. I've read a few more comments out actually while I'm at it. Sam Waller, backup plan to Ugbo is Duncan Maguire. Obviously, Duncan Maguire was the American from, is it, I forget where, I want to say Orlando. I don't think it was Orlando, was it? Was it Orlando?
I think so.
Aren't Orlando Pirates, and it wasn't them.
A
Anyway,
bit Miami,
no,
somewhere like that.
America, MLS, someone, whoever he was from. Yeah, obviously that was the one that he would come in, he weren't, he was in Sheffield, then he went to Blackburn, and then it all fell through at the final hurdle. Jordan saying Henderson's relish on the orange shirt. Orlando City. It was Orlando. I thought I was right. Yeah, Orlando City. Thanks, Jordan, for helping me out there. I thought I was right, but anyway. Yeah, let's get back to talking about what we're actually talking about then, and Chansiri. For me, my thoughts on him have been very, very clear. And whilst I've not forgotten about those things, what he's doing now is just what we've asked for. Certainly on the pitch, we've asked for longer deals, younger players, keeping the good players and moving on the shit ones. Basically, like we've got a great manager. He seems to be listening to him, which I think was one of the things that he was struggling to do, was listen to people that are giving him good advice. Now I feel like that Danny Rail's giving him a lot of things and a lot of a long list of things that he wants, and he's slowly but surely just ticking them off. Again, you mentioned improvements to the training ground. Right, you could argue that all he's done is just fix something that was broken, which but he's still got to do it. I guess let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But again, I haven't forgotten about all the things, and he's getting closer to net zero in terms of where he's. But I still think he's far from it. Like all the negatives, I guess, are just all financial things, all about prices and phases and how fans are being treated. And I suppose the only reason how you treat fans is in the pocket, isn't it? Really, about is the prices, the match day prices, and it comes out with those. Was it £49 to watch Leeds at home, and a game that's on Sky, which. Yeah, it's ridiculous, really. But I mean, those that have forgiven him, and I see a lot on Twitter that have been saying he's doing a great job and he's doing this, that, and the other. Obviously, people have the right to do whatever they want, but do you kind of understand why people have perhaps forgiven him a little bit, or they've been a little bit short-sighted?
I think they've been a little bit short-sighted because I'm not entirely sure you can trust him not to do something silly. I mean, when the when the statement from the club came out about the Coventry thing, and I saw the picture appear on Twitter, and it said club statement. My immediate reaction was, "Oh my God, what's happened?"
Yeah, I think that was
now. Thankfully, it was something. Yeah, thankfully, it was something that we knew was coming, so that was fine. But
yeah, and
I think that's a measure.
Just on that,
that's a measure
that's all been done. Just Steve, just great that's been done as well about the Coventry game, and I think some could have been forgiven thinking that it's all just been all gone quiet and stuff. But yeah, great that the club have acted on it, and I know they've got a fine and stuff, but at least things have been done in a way that we can just move forward now, and yeah, that's all sorted. But yeah, go on, carry on.
That could have been some crazy brain thing that was coming from left field. We can't trust him not to do something really silly like the tax bill thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know about the financial security of the club. And one thing you kind of missed, and I mentioned it already, is selling players. We haven't done that yet. We haven't sold anyone. I don't want us to at the moment. I think it's great what we've got, but if Masaba, Gassama or McNeil or whatever are banging the goals in and looking great, there might be some suitors coming out there in January, wanting to take him off his hands, and we're gonna have that difficult position where we're gonna have to make a decision. Previously, it's been no, we're not selling, but it might be that we're gonna have to, because we need to facilitate all the signings that we've been making, and or bringing someone else in. And we've just got to get used to it. It might not happen, but I feel like it is. I feel like it needs to happen if we're going to actually move forward as a football club and be sustainable. like I mentioned, Troyes, 25 million euros on a player. I mean, when was the last time we sold anyone for any sort of real money? Steve Bruce.
Shaw. Yeah, Lucas Shaw. Well, yeah, Steve Bruce, yeah, and Lucas Shaw. Lucas Shaw was like, a signing where we paid so much for him and we actually made a profit.
Yeah, I'm going to test you actually. Lucas Shaw, where do you think he's playing now?
Oh,
I think I mentioned this last week actually. To be fair.
Oh, I saw it and I can't remember. Go on, tell me, because he's gone. I can't remember.
He went to Blackburn on loan when he was with us for a bit, didn't he? Then he carried on playing for us. Then he went to Reading, played 116 games for Reading, 42 goals. Then he went to China, Shanghai Port, and he's now at Salal. I did mention this because I can remember this.
Saudi Arabia.
In Qatar actually. They're playing the Qatar Star League, the highest tier of Qatari football. So yeah, he's out there. 30 years old he is, Lucas João. So 4 caps for. How does this work? He's got 2 caps for Portugal, the senior side, and now he's got 4 caps for Angola as well.
Yeah, you are allowed to change nationality, don't you? Have to serve like a certain time period before you can play for your new country. But I know you're allowed to change nationality.
I never knew that. I thought it was a case of once you played one game for said country, said nation, that was it. You could never change. But yeah, every day is a school day, I guess. But I think we do need to be moving players on when the time is right. But then we also have to have the confidence that we're going to then bring in another player of a similar ilk, if not with maybe better potential, maybe, and just reuse that money that's coming in. Don't just use it all just to pay off a certain debt. It needs to be used wisely, in that maybe half of it gets reinvested. And like I've mentioned, that the Moneyball system, you sell one player, you bring 3 or 4 in for sell someone for 7 million, 10 million, let's say, spend 5 of it, bring 5 players in for $1 million each, and then see what happens with them. So yeah, still a long way to go, but I will say, credit where credit's due. Things at the moment are looking nice and positive. One thing I think we need to do though, Steve, is one thing the club needs to do is actually build on this positivity, and I don't think we do that, do we? Sometimes.
No, I mean, I go back to when you went to that meeting with the man himself, and I remember you saying that you said to him, you've created all this momentum, winning at Wembley, and then it's been killed stone dead with what subsequently happened. And he looked at you like you were talking in Chinese to him. He just didn't understand at all what you were meaning.
Yeah,
I don't think he gets it, does he?
No, and I just think for me, like, there's loads of things that can be done to kind of just build on this positivity at the moment. It doesn't always have to be cheaper X, Y, and Z. There's just lots of things that we can do in terms of engagement, and it's great all this stuff that's coming out of the club whilst they're on this training camp in Germany. But keep it going. Don't let it be a thing that just because you've got time on your hands because you're away for a week in Germany. It needs to carry on when they're back over here. It needs to carry on through the season. Just having one inside match day video isn't enough. There needs to be lots of things with the players. Why don't we have players meeting I know they come out and sign the autographs before, but it's literally just as they're walking into the ground. Why I've seen other clubs that do it. I think Aston Villa do it, Leicester as well, where they have like a bit of a truck with a stage, and you've got to compare, and they'll speak to 1 or 2 players, and it might not be the players that are actually playing that week, but they're speaking to them before the game. Obviously, we've got the fan zone. Could utilise that a lot better as well, and let's just let's keep this positivity going. I mean, I know that results on the pitch are going to be a massive determining factor whether we remain positive or not, but things at the moment are looking good. Right, let's go on, Steve.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you probably haven't seen this because you were in transit from your day out today, but I've not seen it myself yet because I've not had time, but they just brought another video out with Josh Windass, going through his 40 goals that he scored for the club. So if you tie that into the thing that we did with Liam Palmer with the shirts, I think that's pretty good stuff, and he's quite praiseworthy, really. If they're going to start doing that kind of thing with the players,
just keep doing it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we can say what we want about the production quality and stuff like that, and yeah, I've got my own thoughts on that, but everyone seems to love it. Keep doing more of it. I don't, I know we did there was one with Sam Hutchinson and someone else doing like their best team. It might have just been Sam Hutchinson by himself, and we were buzzing over it. Cam Dawson one where he's got we were teaching someone. Was it with Joey Pellier-Pesse? I want to say, I might be getting that totally wrong, but he were.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Or was it Joost van? It might have been Joost van Arken.
Yeah, they were teaching him Yorkshire, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it might have been both from actually. Yeah. Stuff like that. Like, just keep doing more of that because we love it. And we're in a world of social media now where things like that go viral. Look, it doesn't get you 3 points on a Saturday or a Sunday at 4 o'clock, as the case may be for us. But what it does do is just keeps everyone topped up with that positivity. I watched some of those. I watched the first video when they came back from training. I just sat there grinning to myself, and I just realised that what I was doing. I'm like, I'm just sat here smiling, and all they've done is just people high-fiving each other. I was like, this is great. I just want more of it, and it
makes you feel part of it, though, doesn't it?
It does.
It's yeah. I'm looking forward to that Windass video. I think it should be quite good. That
I did
just to get him talk through his goals.
Yeah, I did watch a couple of minutes of it, to be fair. Which it's all right. Other than the unintentional ASMR, because he's drinking a cup of coffee, so you just hear the occasional slurp every now and then. But if that's your thing, then happy days. It certainly wasn't
happens
bad.
on the one show, that, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I can talk. I'm taking a drink of my drink, and probably getting those sort of sounds on here as well. So maybe I have to listen back to this one before it goes out and edit those out. Lee's just said, agree, media team doing a good job at the moment. Yes, it needs to carry on, definitely. Right, Steve, let's wrap things up, because in a minute you'll be plunged into darkness as it looks there. It's gone rather dark wherever you are at the moment. But yeah, we are going to be recording extra time where we're going to listen to a bit of a This Is Your Life, really, with Steve. You talking about all your memories of Sheffield Wednesday, how you became a Sheffield Wednesday fan, a few stories that you might potentially have. So if you want to listen to that, head over to patreon.com/WTID pod, and you can sign up to a 7-day free trial. Make sure you join the Discord as well, everyone that is Patreon members. I did put a post out last week. There's loads of great discussions in there whenever any news breaks, anything like that. Certainly loads of stuff on match days as well, which is always nice. So yeah, make sure you do sign up. If you have any problems or you don't know how to, just drop me a message and I will certainly walk you through it. But yeah, let's wrap things up, and let's see you over on extra time. Cheers, guys.